called a plumber to your home lately? Ever gone mountain biking?
How much money would it take to make you spend a night in a cemetery?
Have you ever wondered why so many abandoned asylums look the same? Okay, so maybe I've wondered more than the average person, but you clicked on the video, so you must be wondering too. In the late 18th century and early 19th century, those deemed insane were believed to be the fault of the person, that they were possessed by demons and did something to deserve their fate. Where they ended up, though, largely depended on their class, with richer families paying for private treatment, and the poor usually ended up in jails. During this time period, there was no compassion or intent to help those with mental illness, and they focused more on confining, torturing, or some even ended up in sideshows. In 1809, Thomas Kirkbride was born in Pennsylvania into a Quaker family. Although his father was a farmer, Thomas was inspired to study medicine after watching his father be cared for by a physician. At the age of 18, Thomas went on to study medicine under Dr. Nicholas Belleville, and then went on to continue his education at the University of Pennsylvania. For the next 4 years, Kirkbride studied to be a surgeon. After graduation, he began his residency at the Friends Asylum, which is still in operation today as the Friends Hospital in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Founded by Quakers in 1813, the Friends Hospital is the oldest private psychiatric hospital in the nation. Treatment is based on the belief that all people can live a morally ordered existence if treated with kindness, dignity, and respect. The focus of moral treatment was to strengthen the mental wellness of each patient. Treatment concentrated on strengthening mental health instead of curing it. Thomas spent 2 years working there before going on to open his own practice for the next 5 years. In 1840, he was approached for the opportunity to be the superintendent at the new Pennsylvania Hospital for the Insane. Thomas would spend much of 1840 touring other facilities, observing what worked for patients and what didn't. In 1841, he began at the Pennsylvania Hospital for the Insane and practiced holistic approaches to mental illness, implementing much of what he learned while working at the Friends Hospital. It was also during this time that he started outlining and designing specifications for future hospitals. The first hospital to open as a Kirkbride building was the New Jersey State Lunatic Asylum, known today as the Trenton Psychiatric Hospital. In 1854, he published his book on the construction, organization, and general arrangements of hospitals for the insane. The book was used as a manual on how to construct and arrange hospitals in the 19th century for the mentally ill. Within the book, he advocated for moral treatment and all patients to be treated with kindness and sympathy, and strongly believed the hospital should not exceed 250 patients. However, this was sadly never followed. All the Kirkbride buildings had the same staggered V or birds in flight design. The buildings consisted of 2 series of wards or pavilions. New arrivals would arrive in the middle of the building where the admin offices were. From there, they were segregated by gender and then further segregated by how serious their illness was. Those who needed the most care resided in the furthest part of the pavilion, and as you advanced in your treatment, you would legitimately work your way towards the exit. The staggering V also allowed for max ventilation and sunlight throughout the day. The buildings were surrounded by parkland, so greenery and sky were always seen by patients. The idea was to make the asylum feel like a Victorian home and were structured like a family unit. Kirkbride believed that being busy and occupied aided in the patient recovery, so many asylums had working farms where patients worked along with tasks with the daily operation of the asylum. However, fun and amusement was also key, so Kirkbride buildings had ballrooms, baseball diamonds, and one even had a pre-electric roller coaster. By the 20th century, overcrowding was a major issue, and psychiatric care was now aimed at curing mental illness with lobotomies, insulin comas, electroshock, and psychiatric drugs. In the 1960s, new laws prohibited psych patients from working, which without the extra labor from the patients, the hospitals shut down. In the 1970s, the de-institutional movement defunded remaining asylums, which caused them to close their doors. Today, out of the 70-plus Kirkbride buildings, only a few remain as they did when they were built.